And I call the member for Werriwa.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. It's my pleasure to speak on this bill today, if not a little daunting to see the author of it in the House with us. Being creative is definitely good for the soul, and it's fundamental to the way we as human beings work and live and start to thrive. We all know that, as the member for Lalor discussed, it is good therapy to be able to create and express yourselves, and we need places to be able to do that. The former member for Werriwa, Gough Whitlam, was a great supporter of the arts, and he said, "A society in which arts flourish is a society in which every human value can flourish." And that's why, since 1975, the Australian Council has been the Commonwealth Arts Investment and Advisory Body. It was Whitlam that decided that Blue Poles was a good investment. And better still, that was his picture that year on his Christmas card, so that every person that he sent a Christmas card, and for the Prime Minister in the days before emails, that was a significant number, also, as Australians, got to enjoy the good and precipitous decision to get Blue Poles. It is now the amount at the time, and I remember the discussion about how much it cost. It is now invaluable to our community, and it's something that the National Gallery has on display all the time for everybody to look at. That's just how wonderful arts are to our community. This bill will restore and modernise the Australia Council, which unfortunately, like so much in our economy over the last 10 years, has been undervalued and destroyed by the previous governments. The new name will be the Creative Australia, and it will strengthen the capacity of the Australia Council and provide a greater strategic oversight and engagement across the sector, ensuring that funding decisions continue to be made on the basis of artistic merit and at arm's length from government. So it's not about whether or not I like the ballet or whether or not I like hip-hop. It's the fact that everyone in Australia will have a voice and all of their artistic endeavours will be part of it. In the electorate of Werriwa, I have a fantastic arts facility, Casula Powerhouse. They put on so many different exhibitions, so many different plays, but more importantly, they are a community arts facility that support my community, people that come from migrant background. And I have had the pleasure on so many occasions and going and seeing young people from Miller Technical College who have come to Australia from the worst of circumstances, from refugee backgrounds, from places like Afghanistan and Iraq, where they've had to leave under the cover of darkness and leave everything at home. And there is a program at Miller High School which helps them talk about that, helps them address the trauma and the disconnect they have to the Australian society that they're now living in. Because all of a sudden they know they're safe, there's no bullets, there's no other things, but it is really hard, particularly for younger children, to be able to process that. And these performances and the discussions and the teachers that support them through that just make so much difference to their lives, and it also gives them an insight into what education can be and just how wonderful that is. So we need arts for every part of the community. Also in this bill, it will include the establishment of independent bodies, funds for First Nations arts and culture, contemporary music and for writers, and as well as the Centre for the Arts and Entertainment Workplaces. The implementation of the Australia Council reforms under the National Cultural Policy will be staged to allow for necessary consultation. This is something that this government is really invested in, that people get a chance to say what they want. Instead of talking to people, we will be listening and implementing. A number of these elements will require implementation from the 1st of July 2023, and these are covered in this bill and will be the first tranche. The bill provides for the Australian Council to operate under the name Creative Australia, and additional functions in this bill will also enable the Australia Council to commence work for the Centre of the Arts and Entertainment Workplaces and Music Australia from the 1st of July. The Centre for the Art and Entertainment Workplaces will work with artists, industries and employers to raise and maintain safety standards for all art forms and ensure matters are referred to relevant authorities as appropriate. It's important that everyone has a safe workplace, and these workplaces are no different, even though they are creative ones. Music Australia will support the Australian music industry to grow, including through strategic initiatives and industry partnerships, research, training and skills development and export promotion. A follow-up bill will be introduced later in this year to establish these critical bodies. Ongoing consultation with the sector will inform this legislation. The bill provides authority for the Australian Council to deliver Creative Partnerships Australia, including to attract and recognise public and private sector support for the arts, and undertake research on public and private investment for the arts. This increased access to the private sector funding for the arts will maximise the impact of public investment and support a sustainable arts centre. The transfer The transfer of creative partnerships will leverage the Australia Council's expertise and bring together arts philanthropy and arts funding with one entity to create synergies between public and private partnerships as well as government and philanthropic investment. That is really important. The arts are for the whole of our community, and all of our community should be part of that. All donations that are made prior to the fund from the 1st of July. After this bill allows the Australia Council to assume responsibility for the Australian Cultural Fund from the 1st of July, including all donations made prior to the transfer. The Australian Cultural Fund is an important mechanism used by the Creative Partnerships Australia to deliver its objectives, to grow the culture of giving arts and culture, bringing donors, businesses, artists and art organisations together. And it's really important that these creative people, be they musicians, artists or whatever, get paid properly for their work so that actually can be what they do, rather than having to sustain themselves with several other jobs. Through this legislation, the Art Council will assume responsibility to assist Australian artists and art organisations to attract, maintain and support from donors and businesses, diversifying their resources and of revenue, and encourage and celebrate innovation and excellence in giving to and the arts and cultural sector. Under the bill, Creative Partnerships Australia will cease to exist and will be taken to be deregistered under the Corporation Act 2001. The bill also includes transitional elements to support a smooth transfer of functions, ensures the continuity of business between Creative Partnerships Australia and the Australian Council. I would like to commend this bill to the House and thank again the member for Watson for all he's done for our creative partnerships. I've seen firsthand in my electorate what a difference it makes to make sure that you fund everybody, from community grassroots to the big picture. So I commend the bill to the House.